After moving back from the United States to Africa, I wanted to feel grounded. I wanted to feel like I was back home and had everything figured out. But instead, I felt different. I felt lost. My identity felt different. My goals changed all of a sudden. I didn't really know where I fit in all of this. I didn't really know purposes. So if you are feeling stuck or unsure of your purpose, then this video is for you. Now, I want to acknowledge that even if this is home for you, you will feel different. And it's so common. And a lot of people don't talk about how common it is to, you know, move away from your home country for years and then come back and expecting that, everything's going to go well, that you're going to feel grounded, you're going to feel the same again. But you go back and you feel so lost. You feel like you don't know where you are, or you feel like you don't fit in, or you feel like everything's changed. Your goals might have changed, your identity might have changed. So this is really common. Let's talk about why moving back can disrupt your purpose or your feeling of your sense of purpose. There's this change of expectation versus reality. When I used to live, I'm just going to go off of my experience and share it with you, and hopefully you find some sense into it. But when I used to live in Africa, I had this reality constructed of Africa that I knew. But then I moved away from Africa and I was just a little girl. So I moved and I lived basically all my life in the United States, except coming to Africa for vacations and seeing family. And so when I moved away from Africa, I still kept the idea of Africa that I had in the back of my head, or the little moments or the couple months that I get to enjoy my family. That's not really living in Africa. So for me, I had this idea of Africa in the back of my head that wasn't really, the reality of Africa, or the expectations that, I would face once I come back completely, like permanently to Africa. So for instance, I feel like my identity changed. I'm not saying that, oh yeah, I moved back, I'm a different person. It's nothing about that. It's nothing like that. I can't get my words right, but it's nothing like that. It's the fact that you also grow up as an individual. You change as a person. You become a different person based on the different life experiences that are thrown at you. And so for me, I felt that, I went through high school, college, still going through university for higher education. But, I have faced some different life experiences that has molded me to the different person that I have become, but still keeping the idea of Africa that I've had just from visits or from my previous knowledge of Africa. And so this really makes a difference between what I'm expecting to come back to and what the reality of Africa is. Especially since I've built most of my life in the United States, my friends are there, my family are there, and they're really not trying to move back. And so when I made the move, it was like, oh my gosh, you're doing this on your own. So you tend to feel alone. And for me, I wanted to figure things out quickly. I wanted to feel at home so quick. I wanted to be home, like I was home. But this is different. If you know anything about, like, even visiting a foreign country, even if it's your own home native country, when you leave that country for another country for about 2, 3 years and come back, minimum, you're going to be referenced to as someone who's foreign, as someone who's not from that place originally, because people see you change, whether that be in the different way you speak now, or you dress, or your acquired experiences. It's just that they don't feel connected to you as you might think you guys are connected, just because you have different life experiences, just because you have lived a different life, different life than the life that they know. And so they would refer to you, like, for instance, if you've come from the United States to Africa like me, they would refer to you as an American. But for me, I felt like, I felt like an African. And so it's different when you have people referring to you like an American, but you feel like, no, this is home for me too. I'm African too, just as you are. But they're like, nah, you've gone abroad, you've experienced life differently, you're American, you're more American than you are of African. And so really having that idea of, oh my gosh, okay, maybe in this context, especially, coming from the United States to Africa, when in Africa, you're considered as an American. And the funniest trick is when you go back to America, you're considered as an African because you're not American enough. So in both places, you're not African enough and you're not American enough. Or maybe even if it's in between states, you're not completely from the state because if you've lived in Indiana and then you move back to New York, even if you were born in New York, raised in Indiana, when you move between the two cities, the two states, it's not the same. You be referred to as someone from Indiana who's a Hoosier. And if are in Indiana, you'll be referred to as someone who might be a New Yorker because your way of talking all of a sudden just changed. You start talking like a New Yorker, or you start acting like you want everything on 2 times speed, which I advise you put the video on 2 times speed. But anyways, your ways change. The littlest things start changing in you, and so really understand that it's not like you have to change yourself, but also don't rush so quickly to have everything figured out because this is also a new place for you, new place for mentally and also physically. For being able to find purpose again, it's important to think about what fills you up. For me, it's important to think about what fills me up, even though guys, I'm so sorry. I'm getting over a cold. I keep cutting these parts out, but I keep like fixing my throat. Anyways, after a cold when you're almost better, but you're not there yet, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. Um, I hope it's not coming through from my voice. Anyways, uh, to feel like you have purpose again, to feel like you have purpose again, you really have to find what fills you up. What is it about that environment that made you move? What is it about the other environment that made you want to go there? Or what is it in your life, regardless of your environment? I know that your environment has an impact on you, but what is it, regardless of your environment, that makes you, I don't know, that makes you feel fulfilled? For me, it's family. Regardless of where I am, when I have my family with me, I feel fulfilled. I feel like I belong. For instance, in the US, I had my family with me. In Africa, I still have family with me. And I grab onto those relationships and I feel like I have purpose. Or maybe it's school for me. Sometimes it's school. You can't always have family with you. You can't always depend on other people. It's another video. I mean, I have people I trust, I have people I depend on. Don't worry about me. I'm just saying, sometimes you can't always depend on people. And so you have to find really, truly, what is your purpose? For me, or what is something that fills you up so you feel like you have purpose again. For me, sometimes that's school, knowing that, oh my gosh, I'm just so close to finishing my master's, or I'm just so close to getting into my PhD program that I really want to, you know embark this journey on. Figuring out the smallest things that makes me happy, that fills my cup up and gives me purpose to keep pushing is really important. It's a lot of different things that can fill your cup up. For me, it was school, making sure that I'm pursuing higher education, but also reconnecting with family. I know I've said, like, family doesn't always have to be there for you because you also need to be there for them. You also need to nurture those relationships if you want to have them. If you don't want to have them, then you need to find the relationships that are really valuable for you and nurture those relationships. When you move like I did, you have to find purpose in a lot of different things. That way, you don't have to rely on one thing and you don't need to stretch yourself thin. For instance, I find purpose or I find fulfillment in making sure that I work on my tea business, my dried fruit tea business, or feeling purpose working in public health because that fills my cup up. It fills me up to know that I am truly impacting those who need it the most. I'm truly working not only to fill myself or to make myself feel happier, but also to help others, to service others. I'm at service for other people, and that fills me up, and that fills my cup up, and that increases my feeling of having a purpose. in life. And so you really need to truly find out what is it that makes you feel like you have purpose in your life? What is it that gives you the motivation in your life so that you keep going, you feel your sense of purpose still exists. For instance, one thing that I think people really get wrong is when you move out of your previous environment to a new environment, sometimes you feel like, oh, let me keep in touch with my previous environment. For instance, keeping in touch with people in the US, or keeping a hold of things in the US, saying, oh my gosh, this is my life. Keeping in touch with friendship from those environments. I don't want you to get so stuck up on that, because you can keep in touch with friendship from your previous environment, but don't make it your identity. Don't make those your identity, because once you move from that environment, you and those people don't have things in common, like you servicing people in Africa and them having service to do in the United States, like going to work in corporate and stuff like that. It's different lives, different hours, so you can't really put so much strain on other people to fill your cup when you haven't gone out in your new environment to explore different business opportunities that you might have, or to explore different career opportunities, whether that be in public health like I have, or in other fields like business, or other finance, or other fields that exist. You have to be able to find purpose outside of what you have left behind in order to really grasp on different things that fill you up, that you don't have to rely on your previous condition or your previous environment. That way you can make sure that, oh, I don't need to hold on to this so badly. Because once you feel the need to hold on to maybe relationships back in the US while you're still in Africa, it's going to put a strain on not only you, but also the people you're in a relationship with. Because you expect to be able to talk to them 24/7. You expect to be able to, still chat with them. You can't hang out together. You can't chat all the time together. And they think that, oh, she's moved back. She's not here. So let me do different things with my life. And you're holding on to them like, no, you can't. You can't leave me. That's because you haven't found what really fills you up. And you're holding on to them, and you're pulling them down. So I really don't recommend that. I recommend that you go out there and you figure out what makes you feel fulfilled, and you do those things, rather than holding on to previous activities or previous people that, you know, gives you the illusion of being fulfilled. Now, I'm not saying to break ties when you move from a different country. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that your new life doesn't have to completely depend on your previous life. Your new environment doesn't have to completely and solely have individuals from your previous environment, because those people are not coming with you. And that's how people talk about, oh, relationships fading, or oh, we used to be really good friends. You used to, and not everything is meant to last forever. Things are meant to be a part of your life, sometimes seasonally, and just gone. They can come back, but sometimes you just have to let go and build new ones, especially if you are continents away. But if you're, states away, it could work. I'm just saying, putting it out there so you really don't, come across as, oh my gosh, very needy, don't have anything to do in their life, expect depending on other people and dragging them down so they can't do their life because of you. Now, this might go against what I've been saying, but you really do want to reconnect with people who make you feel fulfilled. Now, I know I said don't hold on to people like, dear life from your previous environment, but in your new environment, create connections, create relationships that really will make you feel fulfilled, that will be there for you, excuse me. And find family. Family doesn't have to be related by blood. Family can be those people who you choose to be who you choose for them to be in your life, and who want to be in your life. Family doesn't have to be complicated. If it's too complicated, then it's wrong. I'm sorry. Like right now, I'm in my later 20s. And so really, when it gets too complicated, it's not worth it. There's just something wrong with it, then it's not worth it. I'm up and all for fixing stuff and fixing relationships and making sure that it's working. But sometimes, girl, you just have to know when you have doubts. You have to know when you know. Anyways, closing that chapter, because I think it's harder for me to like dissect it and explain it completely without it being its own video. But you also have to find faith. You also have to find faith in your culture. The culture, sometimes when I was here, sometimes the culture, and I made a video about culture, how the culture is different and how you can feel different. Go ahead and watch a playlist. There's a playlist here of moving from the United States to Africa that you can watch. I mentioned how, cultures can be different, expectations versus a reality. Even if you're moving from your home country, you're moving back to your home country. But like I said, the culture, find joy in the different culture. You're not going to move to a place where you don't like the culture. If you don't like the culture, then why did you move there? Now that's mean. That's mean. But I'm just saying, you can't love the culture 100%. There are going to be things that you love about the culture, and there are going to be things that you don't like about the culture. That was too tongue twisting. But what I'm saying is that, find joy in the culture. Don't shy away from embracing new culture. And don't keep your previous culture from the previous country you're coming from, holding it to for dear life, thinking, oh my gosh, that's my culture. I can't let it go. Learn, evolve. Humans evolve. If you're not evolving, if you're not learning, if you're not changing, then honey, you're going to suffer because things around you are changing. Things around you are evolving. Even the culture that you previously left in the other country is evolving. It's changing. It's turning, it's twisting, and you're adapting to it without even knowing. So, really, find joy in the new culture that you've embraced and also kind of put your little touch to it because you're not, like a sponge that needs to soak up everything. You have your own self to it. You have your own identity. You can put your own twist to it, and that will make you feel like you have purpose again. Especially now, let's talk about faith. I am someone who's really faith oriented, and so I feel that, sometimes you can pray about things. Just pray about things. Well, all times you can pray about things, but take action. I really don't like when people come on here and talk about only praying without taking action. And I know that, okay, it sounds bad, but really, if you want God to help you, then get up and do something, and then ask for assistance for the rest of the part that you can't have control over. But for the things that you have control over, get up and do those things. Get up and try your best and your hardest for those things. And then for the rest that you cannot control, let God handle that. And then you pray over that. If you're not someone who pray, then have faith. Have some faith that things are going to turn around for you because the world is not stagnant. If you have been watching this video so far, my name is Farida. Thank you for joining me on this video. Now let's keep watching the video. My philosophy is, even if you are someone who does not have faith, who does not believe in any kind of God or so, you have to have this decency to understand that as long as this globe is moving, things are moving along with it, things are changing along with it. So therefore, there's going to be a change in your situation. It's just not going to be stuck in that one specific spot of torture. It's not possible because things are moving. The globe is moving around you. Even if you don't move, even if you don't take a step forward, things are going to move because the globe is moving. Things are moving. Everything's not stagnant. You are just one piece of the puzzle. So, I feel like I was a little bit harsh, but you have to understand that things will move. And so, your situation will change. I'm not saying this for people who are jolly and happy in their situation, but I'm saying this because sometimes after moving, you get hit with this kind of depression or this kind of sadness of everything being different and you not being able to figure things out. And when that happens, you want to at least have one sentence in your life that, helps you push forward to know that, oh my gosh, things are going to move and my situation is going to change and this is for the better. I am so afraid that this cough thing that I have in my throat is wanting to change my voice, and I don't like that. So I keep like clearing my throat. Sorry, guys. But anyways, give yourself permission to evolve and grow and grow. Give yourself permission to evolve. Like, if you want to say that, rewind this little, like, tap 10 seconds to the back to re listen to it again. Give yourself permission to evolve and grow. You're not the same person. Trust me. You're not the same person you were yesterday, let alone you're not the same person you were 2 years ago. The things that you would accept in your life today were not the things that you would have accepted in your life 10 years ago, because you have more knowledge, you have more experience. You know, things will evolve. So give yourself some grace and know that you are also evolving and changing. Let's talk about the signs that you are aligned with your purpose. When you're aligned with your purpose, you feel more energy and you feel more excitement in your life to do more things, especially the things that you already do on a daily basis. You're not going to feel drained because this is something that fills you up. I've been talking about, doing things that fill you up this entire video. When you do things that fill you up, the app. When you do things that fill you up gradually, you will feel a sense of purpose again, because those things were actually your purpose. Different words, for me, I feel like your purpose is really what fills you up. And so, if that makes sense for you too, let me know in the comments. But different things that fill you up, you're gonna feel so excited. You're gonna feel like, okay, even if it's difficult, I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna keep doing this because it's your purpose. You feel like you have purpose again. You're gonna push through things. Now, you're not always gonna feel like you have purpose, and this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong. That, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to feel excited, energized about everything that I do. No, even if it's something that fills you up, there are different circumstances, there are different situations in your life that would make you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't feel up to it. But know that you shouldn't lose hope, or you shouldn't lose, interest in that thing just because one or twice you don't feel like it. It happens. We're humans. We're not robots. We're not programmed to want to continue on that one task forever. But you will feel the difference. You won't feel dull. You won't feel like exhaustion, super, super exhausted, because you have purpose. And you're gonna feel the difference. You're gonna feel like, okay, it might be hard, but at least I got this done. At least I got this small thing done. At least, and it makes you have more more joy to continue, more joy to want to continue, to want to try again, because you see the smallest changes that you're making, and those will pile up to make you feel like you are fulfilled. And when you feel like you're fulfilled, then you will have more purpose again. It's a cycle that keeps cycling back and forth. And so when you're really at the bottom of the cycle, well, you feel like, oh, I don't have that energy again, you put yourself up again to know that everything's moving in life. You got to try it. And now you get up, you're doing things, because when you get up and you do things, you start feeling fulfilled. When you start feeling fulfilled, before that though, you'll have energy like, oh my gosh, I want to have the smallest change possible in this cause. Have the energy, do things, feel fulfilled, and then you feel like you have purpose again, and the cycle returns and cycles back up again. If that makes any sense, give this video a thumbs up. Or let me know. But sometimes I get to sharing with you how I'm thinking currently in the video, and so really this gets me pumped when I start thinking about these kind of things, because I'm like, oh yeah, this happened to me too. Anyways, when you start finding your purpose again, you're going to start finding clarity in everything that you do. Well, maybe not everything 100%, but you're going to start having the smallest moments of clarity. You're going to start feeling like, oh, yeah, it might not be 100%, but at least I got this done. Or at least this is what it is. You're going to start finding clarity slow by slow, slowly, 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 until you kind of reassure yourself, or you're kind of fulfilled with what it is at the moment. And that's how purpose really works. It's not a one day thing. This is a life change. This is a big life change for me, knowing that my environment is different. Everything that I knew, I've left behind, and it's completely different now, and I'm trying to figure it out. Now, in these kind of moments is when your faith is tested, is when you really lose purpose. You lose purpose because it's not the same old environment that you know how to cut corners in, or you know how to source directly what you want from, and you feel like you're not good enough because you can't figure it all out really quickly. And when you can't figure it out really quickly, then you feel like you lost your sense of being fulfilled, and therefore, you feel a sense of kind of not being enough. Well, you just got to get up and try. You just got to get up and try, because in the previous environment, you didn't come knowing everything. It was gradual. How many years have you spent in your previous environment? How many years have you spent in that country learning new things, finding different ways to do things, and then filling your cup up and finding your purpose? It's the same thing. You just got to relearn things a little bit and finding your purpose. And for me, you just have to get up and try every single day. You're not going to find purpose in one day, and you're surely not going to find purpose in one thing. So make sure that you diversify a little bit slowly, though. Don't be too diversified that you can't even recognize it when you find it. Have you ever had a life change where you felt like you lost purpose? Let me know in the comments, and let's continue this chat in the comments.